Hi, everyone. My name is April.
And my name is Kim. I'm a dietitian and an epigenetic health coach, and we have a program put together called Genes, Menopause, and Me. And the reason we have that program is that approaching menopause, I did not want to age quickly and with ill health. And menopause is a time when you realize that you actually are aging, something you may not have thought too much about prior to that.
Or hoped you could avoid.
Absolutely. And so, on a serious note, there are a lot of health consequences that happen after menopause. The goalposts shift, they become a lot narrower. And that means that you have to do things differently. And there was not a lot of evidence out there for how to do things differently. So, we created this program with a view to aging with grace and beauty and amazing health. So
we thought we'd tell you a little bit about it because we've gotten some questions. So here's just a little bit more about what's involved and why we're doing it.
So where are we going to start, April?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do and why.
Yep, sure. So if you've experienced some menopause symptoms, then I guess you're probably aware that things are changing and that you are actually aging, which I guess we don't really understand until we start to see those things change. So we get hair changes, skin changes, and this is part of the reason that we have this education course around menopause, because it was when I started to hit that time and I was looking for the reasons why that was happening and how to reverse it, there was very little information out there. So what we can understand now is that there's enough information for us to make changes, and a lot of that comes back to our actual genes.
Yeah.
Because genes affect how we experience menopause symptoms. And more importantly, those symptoms are a sign that there are weaknesses in our genes that we should look to address now if we are interested in aging gracefully and protecting our health as we do so. So this course is all about making that connection between the different genes that you have and I have, and how that might play out as menopause symptoms or other symptoms of not being as well as we would like to be. And then what do we do about that? How do we change those things? And the good news is that we can understand a lot of that now. Part of that, though, is that what we do is cutting edge science. Many of those studies that we look at are actually released in the year that we're recording this information. So this is very new information, this understanding of genetics and how our lifestyle plays out on how our genes present. And so we're pulling together information that's hot off the press, information that will take a long time to actually filter out into education advice, as health advice normally does. So,
do you want to give some examples of the kind of classes that we are going to
come? So we're going to address things like how to improve your skin, like what's happening with your skin in menopause, how to overcome hot flushes. We'll talk about things as important to us as maybe coffee is, and how to avoid the problems with coffee but get the benefit from it at the same time. We'll talk about
circadian
rhythms. We'll talk about genes like our the carb loving gene versus the carb disliking gene. So how do you know whether you should be a low or a higher carb consumer of foods, and what impact that has, and what symptoms are associated with that in menopause. We'll also talk about plant estrogens and why they're valuable, and how we can use them to mimic some of the estrogens that we are losing during that menopausal change.
Also how to change willpower muscle.
How to make those changes stick, how to think about change and how to incorporate them. We'll also look at the sleep hormone and how not to destroy it, because sleep is an important, really foundational for our health. But gee, it can be really hard work in menopause, that waking up at 3 a.m. and staying awake for 2 hours when you know you have to be up in a couple of hours and go and function for the day. We talk about the brain fog and how to, what's going on there in the brain during menopause and how to overcome that. and memory. Why am I forgetting words? And those sorts of issues during menopause too. We certainly address hair and skin because even though they might seem just like aesthetics, they're actually a sign of things happening inside of the system, your body, that are changing. And there's a dramatic change in terms of how well your skin now protects you against infections. And your immune system's part of that. Your gut is part of that skin change as well. And we're beginning to know more and more about how our microbiome, our gut bacteria, influence our immune function, and how healthy we'll be as we age. So we're pulling all of that together in understanding the symptom, looking at the genetics that might underpin that, and then looking at the lifestyle that can influence those genes. So we can eat according to our genes, and we can also eat to influence how our genes express.
Yeah.
And we're going to look at all of that in this course, with a view to aging gracefully, with confidence, with great health, and strong as we move forward, particularly as the science around aging evolves and we begin to understand how to affect our genes and the influences on our genes to create a slower aging process. And there is evidence that lifestyle can slow down the aging process and maybe even reverse some of those processes. So we want to remain healthy and strong as that science does evolve. And of course, we will be at the cutting edge of bringing that into our lifestyle education. And so if you're interested in jumping in and understanding this process better, then we've made it super easy for you to do that. You can join for $1 and get the first 4 weeks of the program for that $1. And so you can see whether it's something that you think will be valuable to you.
They're important classes too, the first ones.
They certainly are.
Yeah.
And they're foundational. And that's why we introduce them early on, because we want to see that you can create value in your life and value in you by understanding how to look after your health. And lifestyle is such a crucial part of that. The evidence just continues to show us that it's foundational. But it's important to understand how to take those little quirks of your genes and apply the right lifestyle technique for you. So head on over to our offer page, which we will link below in this video, and you can try that for $1. And we look forward to catching up with you in there. Bye for now.
Bye.